And we are back. Um,
Hey!
listen, that's why we lead, right? Because we don't let things shake us. We're unshakable, which is the conversation today. So this is good stuff. So Tasha, before we start, the thing that I will do is I will get my assistant to like tie the videos together, and then I'll send you the recording. Okay. So
Wow.
yeah. So let's go back into that conversation that we ended on, which was what happened when you went back, looked for your dad, your biological father, and all the things. One of the things that I heard you talk about, what came up for me as you were sharing that,
Mhm.
was is so prevalent, right? And
Mhm.
so true, where the shame of the thing hides the thing under, and then it just festers into this thing that evolves into this major impact in our lives that we don't,
Yes.
because it's under the quiet, right? And then it blows
Yes.
up. So that's what came up for me when you were sharing that part of the story about how people we keep things quiet, we keep things muted, and we don't talk about it. So because we're not talking about it, what's happening in the background in the family, right? So I'm gonna let you go.
100%. Yeah, so I was looking for my biological father and started to get to know him from there. And it is shame. It was an identity crisis, which I think is also what we have going on in the world. And
Mhm.
it's not that we have to talk about it to everyone like I do,
Mhm.
but I open myself up and talk about this so transparently so that other people might be inspired or encouraged to find someone to talk with and to talk to, even in private, because keeping it hidden, and you're right, the shame keeps it hidden. Keeping it hidden is so detrimental, not just to business, family, very much relationships. And when we look at relationships, relationships are everything, whether it's in your family or in business or in ministry, or I mean, relationships is the key. And I think working hard, being smart, being on time, like all the standard things are important, but it doesn't replace how we deal with people and the type of relationships or networking, like you're saying, getting in the rooms, and making sure you're in the right rooms. And so back to
Mhm.
relationships, we can have great relationships and that makes a great family. We can have great relationships and that makes a great business, a great ministry. And so in order to have healthy relationships, we need to uncover what I call the funk and the junk and the stuff,
Mhm.
because we all have a different set of what we've shoved under the rug, what we've put in the trunk and locked it away in the attic. And it's actually the uncovering where we can heal ourselves, which heals our soul.
Mm.
That now we have more security in who we are, so we're going to be less insecure. And now we have more conviction about what we're passionate about and why. And so to me, I couldn't do anything that I'm doing without the passion that I have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Passion and the conviction that I have to do what I'm doing is what fuels me every day,
Mhm.
all
Yeah.
day long.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. I can see that. And I'm so related to you because hey, listen, when you're on a mission, there are days when you get up and you don't want to be like you're like, God, why am I doing this today? No.
Very, very
Or
much.
or you wake up and you're like, okay, where are the results of all this stuff that you told me to do? This morning I was talking to me and God were talking this morning. And I was like, well, God, where are the results? Like, and then he was like, the results are there. You may not be able to see them, but the results are there, right?
Good.
They may not look like what you want it to look like, but they're there. So, Tasha, we wanted to just bring into the conversation today, and I know this is a little bit off the track, but I want to bring it in because I don't want to forget. And with the technical difficulties, we're shortening this thing a little bit.
Yes.
Um, the the conversation around um what do you think was going on in the mind? We're going to talk about now what happened this week with Charlie. I didn't know him. I wasn't even aware of what was going on until, again, I went into some rooms and the name kept coming up, and I'm like, okay, Lorna, you get to know who this person is. And
Hmm.
so, because he was not on my radar before, right? And
Right.
to find out he was this amazing young man, who's actually younger than my son, which is like crazy, right? And he was a stand, and he was known for his voice.
Yes.
He was known for his voice. The
Yes.
short research that I did, the biggest thing I took away was he was known for, he was very vocal about things that were happening in the world that weren't being, and that might not have been, you know, um, the the uh, the agreement for everybody, but he was a stand above it, and that's
Yeah.
probably what got him killed, right? So
100%.
as we talk about being muted and the fact that no, he got killed for not being muted, right? What's your take on the whole thing? What did you take away from what happened this week to Charlie?
It honestly, Lorna, I'm going to be so transparent right now. It made me physically ill. I
Mm,
was really physically sick to my stomach. And I think it's because of what I do. I have followed Charlie for a long time. And I know that the two things we always say, especially in business rooms, don't talk about religion and don't talk about politics. And
mhm.
my two favorite things to talk about is religion and politics. And I didn't used to be
That means
that
you're in trouble, girl. Okay, great.
low. And so it hit me really hard. Like, sometimes that baby doll bold and my passion and conviction is like, if I died at church, if I went to worship and that was my last time to worship, I would be good with that. If I was out there in the middle of my calling, if today was my last day, would I still go around to the treatment centers and talk to them and try to place women in the homes? And emphatically, yes. I feel that passionate about it. But when it comes in your face like that, like, would you? Yes, I would. And I don't like to sound like a Joan of Arc, like just way out there, like a just complete weirdo. But for me, this is what life is about. Like, I was created for a divine assignment. And my assignment is my purpose. That is what I do every day. And we have divine alignments, which I believe you're one of those alignments for me. Because when we first met that first time, we talked through the whole dinner and I joined the Dames right away. And I've had great experiences there. So we have these divine alignments. And you talked about your show being very divinely orchestrated and creating and the way that it's led. And the question that you had asked me right before the break was what had happened that shifted that caused you to come out. And I just wanted to add one more thing, because after that happened with my mother and the two fathers, then I went into a drinking phase myself. And so
Mm,
I had to recover from that. And in my recovery is always an uncovering. So,
mhm.
just like the Titanic and what did they hit? The iceberg, and you can see
Iceberg.
the top of it, and then there's all this stuff on the underneath. So the alcoholism, the drugs, the surviving cancer, anything that is an illness up here, underneath is all that, what I call the funk and the junk and the stuff. It's depression, it's anxiety, it's abuse, it's psychological abuse, it's the way we were treated. And I don't mean to harp on as you were a kid, but it definitely starts when you're a kid. And if we don't learn how to heal along the way, then
Mm,
it grows and it becomes its own entity in a way that we have to kill. It's like
mhm,
you have to
mhm.
take it out of
And
your life.
and by the way, nobody can kill it but you. So so
Yes,
it comes back to where, in my world, the awareness of it, right, and the acknowledgement of it, right. So, and it's the process. and a lot of people don't
Mhm.
want to go through that process. So
Right.
I'm just really really passionate about, you know, getting people into the awareness phase at least, right?
At
At
least.
least into the
Yes.
awareness phase so that they can move through to the other side. And I know we came off Charlie a little bit, but I want to go back there because I want this show is all about debunking the success myths, right? And
Mhm.
and being that this happened to this young man, you could say that he was unsuccessful in his journey. And I would say no to that, even though I just met him, because here's the other part of it is that whatever he had started, and by the way, do you know when he started this being so vocal and such a
I
stand?
believe it was about 12 years ago. In fact, he started to go to college and then he decided that he was just going to go off and do his own thing. And so he started traveling around to colleges and he was so eloquent with his words, Lorna. If you go back and watch him, there's so much to watch about him. And he lovingly, kindly had a backbone and stood with his beliefs that were very, very godly. He was an evangelical Christian and he stood firm in his beliefs, but he welcomed the opposing side and
Mm,
he helped. So, I mean, he has a huge following in the youth. And that's what, like I was talking before about Titus too, like we are required to share our wisdom and experience with the next generations. And
mhm.
the other thing that had happened to me, because I wasn't quite finished with my thought back there, I'm going to jump back and forth a little bit. Sorry. That I had an abusive husband. And there was this moment where I had to stand up for myself. And I love what you said about nobody can kill that but you. And so there was that was the strongest moment when I was in the middle of that, the alcoholism was bad and all of the stuff. But I said, I don't actually have to do this.
Mhm.
And when I left that husband, because I left many times. And I know there's women out there because you mentioned awareness, the myths around alcohol and abuse is like, that's 15 different topic, podcasts.
We have a whole series on that, right?
I'll
Yeah,
stop there. But to
yeah.
come back to Charlie, he walked in what he believed. He
Mm,
lived what he believed. He went to the campuses. He spoke with the youth. And one of the things that he says is if you disagree with me, please come to the front of the line. And just welcoming the opposing, teaching people how to speak without arguing, without fighting, without killing people. How do we have a conversation and bring the two sides together so that we can have peace in the world? Thank you, Father, for bringing it back to my topic because you asked me in the beginning, what is success? To me, it's living with peace in your mind, your heart, your soul. And when you have peace, you can stand firm in what you believe and you can go out and tackle all the things we got to tackle every day
yeah,
because there's always going to be opposing sides. There's always going to be hurdles. There's always going to be conflict. And if we are not equipped to learn how to address these conflicting situations and stand in our own right and what we believe without the fighting, without the rioting, without the crazy stuff,
yeah,
we're
yeah.
there.
This is a big topic.
It
Um,
is. And I think you're
and
brave
again, without
to be on here. Thank you for being brave and allowing it to be on here today.
listen, this is for me. This is not a conversation about politics. This is a conversation about humanity, and my mission is to create awareness, right? To shift.
Mhm.
The only way we can create awareness is to shift consciousness, because I believe that we're most of us are walking around unconscious at some level, right? And what I wanted to address, what you just said, is um, when you're saying opposing beliefs, we don't really disagree. Is what I want to bring into the conversation.
Okay.
right? We don't really disagree. It may be a different thought in the moment. And again, this is where the consciousness level gets to rise, right? Because
Yes.
if we understood who we are as human beings at our core, we're not
Yes.
our body,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So we're not even our thoughts,
Right.
right? So if we go all the way back there and pull it all the way back, realization to the fact that okay, Charlie got killed. Charlie was pretty vocal. Charlie brought a lot of conversations into the world. Well, if we got really conscious and be like, okay, where am I having this conversation? The same conversation that Charlie was having, where am I
Very
having
good.
that conversation within myself? You get what I'm
That's
saying?
so good.
That's the piece where you know
That's
that's why
the
I do what
point.
I do.
That's the point. You're so right. It's an introspective,
It's an introspective. So
yes.
you
And
you killing me, which part of yourself did you just kill?
yes.
You know what I'm saying?
So good, Lorna. That is so good.
That's what is that's how I look at it now. Coming back to opposing views, the only reason you would oppose my view is if you're just not there yet in the conversation. It's not
So
that he's
good.
wrong,
So
it's just
good.
that you're not there yet. And
Yes.
that's why I'm here to help bring you there. And you may even come close and just like supersede where I'm at. It just
Sure.
depends on how fast we want to create the new reality, right?
Right.
I feel a fire burning in me right now.
That
You
is
have
so
no idea
good. The level of
what is
consciousness,
going
because, we are not people having a spiritual experience, but we are spiritual beings having a human experience. But not all of us are at that level of understanding and comprehending what all is going on. And so the world view is very limiting,
on.
and it's very, it can appear destructive and depressive and just ugly and chaotic, but the biblical view, for example, is a higher level of consciousness, and it's not about us,
At
and
all.
it's not even about us. It's about what role are we playing, which is very interconnected with what you said about the introspective part. Like, where is this happening in me, in my life? And I heard someone say one time, the Bible reads you. And so when people are reading the Bible and disagreeing with that, it is something internally that's going on with
Yeah,
us.
yeah,
It's not about what's going on in the world and outside of us.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That level of awareness is it can be instant and it can come over time. And don't get me wrong, I'm not there yet either, right? This is just my level of awareness now. I'm sure there's way more. Like I look at people like Deepak Chopra. That's a whole nother level of awareness, right? I
Right.
look at people like John
Exactly.
Maxwell. That's a whole nother level of
Oh, for
awareness,
sure. Oh, for
So
sure.
just if
Absolutely. And we're always growing
oh
until, for my belief, until we get to heaven. That's when we have all of the understanding. So there's going to be a lot of things in the world that don't make sense. And here's something that I tell to the families of the women. So there's women in recovery, and then there's their families. And we have to do as much education and therapy and counseling with the families and prayer as the women in the recovery, because this person may have been the scapegoat to everything in the family. So everyone in the family is dealing with the same issues. It's coming out in different ways. And
mhm,
we can't take logic and put it into an illogical situation.
mhm,
So it's not logical to be abused. It's not logical to be an alcoholic. It's not logical for someone to kill Charlie. So you can't put logic into it. And so there's things here that we will not understand because you can't make sense of it. You know what I'm saying? You can't put logic where there's not logic to it. And there's some things we just won't know here on this side. So we
Mhm.
just have to decide, what are we going to do with that? And
Mhm.
one of my favorite things that I read this week about Charlie was that seed that fell to the ground was planted, and millions of voices are going to come to the forefront to be unleashed, unlocked, unmuted, unstoppable. And that is glorious because more people will be speaking out and up and standing up for themselves, I believe, because of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so powerful. That's so powerful. And I could just see it. I hear it. I mean, nothing. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and uh, we were talking about a woman who was she was 4 foot tall. She was yay big, right? Her name was Kiki Hayden in the real estate world in New York. And Kiki came out of fashion industry and she was like standards, right? And we were talking about her yesterday. And I said to my friend, the reason why we're talking about Kiki in this moment, Kiki died 6 years ago at the
Oh,
age of about 83.
wow.
And Kiki was still driving herself and still showing clients at 83. Not that
I
she needed
love
the
it.
money, it was just who she was, right?
Wow.
And I said to my friend, I said, the fact that we're talking about Kiki 6 years after she's passed on, because she just left her body, right? So um I said, that's the legacy, right? And all the people she impacted, whether it was through real estate or fashion, right? This, I know that if I'm talking about Kiki, somebody else talking about Kiki, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why I bring that into the conversation is the same thing with Charlie, right? Charlie was
Oh,
31 years old. He's been in this game for 12 years. But I'm going to tell you that what you just said about people who are now going to be unmuted because of his 12 years.
yes.
Oh, ooh. Because of his 12 years, right?
Mhm.
The ripple effect of that is
Yes.
going to be exponential. That's the legacy. So a lot of times, and I bring this up because even me, I had to learn this, and even now, I'm still grappling. Oh my God, muted.
Not be muted.
Cannot be muted.
We're coming back, even for 5 minutes.
Oh my God. What was that?
You were
Anyway,
saying you were grappling, even now, you still grappling with.
like I get to be like in this unapologetically was what I was saying, right? Unapologetic.
Yes.
And the more of us who choose it, whether or not it feels hard or it feels overwhelming, and those are just words that we use to mute ourselves. When I hear
Yes.
somebody talk about overwhelmed, I cringe. Actually, I usually typically do not use that word because I think it's a word that's such a disempowering word. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow. That's good.
Like, the legacy that Charlie has left will go beyond what the experience we had this week. And
Oh,
that
yes.
is unequivocally the game. The
100%.
legacy we're after, right?
Are we still on? Are we live?
Yes, we are.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
Okay, because he to me is up there with JFK, Abraham Lincoln,
Yes.
like, right? Yes,
Yep.
like the magnitude of what he accomplished. And there is this tricky way of saying, like, he he went because he was done.
Yes.
Because now what needs to happen is the shift into so many more, because that is more powerful. And it's not to say that I'm glad that happened, because I'm not. I think it's a terrible, tragic event. But at the same time, there's always a silver lining, and the like the consciousness of up here, like the level of glory that comes from this event. The magnitude is so much more enormous now. And the I don't know if you've seen this, Lorna, but the numbers of young men that have been on the news and online and on social media talking about how much of an impact. I think I'm gonna get like, no, I'm not gonna cry. um the impact that they had in his life, and how right at this moment we need men to be men,
Yeah.
and we need women to be women, and we need women to be what we are created to be. It doesn't mean you have to stay home and only raise kids. That's a myth in business for sure, because I had that when I was talking before we started about the 70s, and you can bring home the bacon. I can bring home the bacon fried up in the pan and never forget you're a man. You thought you could do everything, and you can do everything to a degree, but we need to narrow it down to
Mhm.
what is it that I can specifically do. I can tell you that I put business and working somewhat to the side. I always did something, but it wasn't about like at the level that I'm doing it now, because raising my children was the one thing that only I could do. I was the mom. And so we narrow it down to what is it that I am here to do? What's my story? What's your story? We have that unique 1%. We have a thumbprint that nobody else has.
Right.
And 1% of our DNA is different from everyone else in the world. And so there is a narrowing down of what specifically we are here to do. And we
Absolutely.
need men and we need women, and we need them to be empowered to go out and be all they were created to be, and have no holding back, no
No holding
shrink
back.
down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. We could go on forever.
I know we could, because we
But I want to be mindful. I know, but I want to be mindful of your time as well.
okay.
So tell me what one thing that you would, well, before you do that, tell me what you're working on now, where people can find you, and then tell me what one quote or one thing you want to leave the audience with.
Okay, I got it. I know what that is. So what I'm working on now is we have this fabulous event coming up, Lorna. So the timing could not be better. And I wish I had a little postcard because they're downstairs to show you. But if you go to betonherbreakthrough.com, that is where our next event is. It is September the 26th and the 27th. Real Talk Kim, who I know we've talked about before, she is my fabulous mentor and she ordained me as a pastor. She is coming, and she is a partner too Tomahawk Homes, and the nonprofit Kashapa. So this is a fundraising event where she will come. She will speak Friday night, September the 26th. That is a VIP dinner, and we are really trying to get the right people in the rooms. So that is $500 per person so that we can get the right people in the rooms for sustainable giving so that we can have sustainable living for the women in Tomahawk Homes. So the first house is Ryan's place. It has 4 women in there. And now we need another house. And so the fundraiser is for the second house. Okay. So Saturday, the 27th, it's more of a conference style. It's for men and women. And it's all about breakthrough. It's about breakthrough in your personal life, in your business, in your marriage, with your families, whatever it is that you need breakthrough for. That is the message. And so we're going to be breaking like a glow stick, like it's already in you, and you break it, and now you're lighting up the world, and nobody can take it out because you can't shine darkness in the light, but the light can shine out. So you don't
That's
want to
right.
miss that. It's in Dallas at the Highland Curio Hilton Hotel. It's on 75 and Mockingbird, so it's easy to find. It's going to be this amazing event. And so you go to betonherbreakthrough.com to sign up for that. Also, you can donate. I ask people just donate $10 a month. Just $10 a month. It all adds up. Everybody can do a little bit. And you go to kashapa.org. Kashapa. I am Native American, and that is a Chickasaw word that means my portion. And it references that God is our one source for our security, hope, and a future. So that's the 501c3. So if you go to kashapa.org and donate, it's all tax free. Okay, we have 501c3 status on that. Tomahawk Homes is TOMO Hawk. I spelled it. It's misspelled on purpose. There's a whole story behind that. We'll just shorten it. Tomahawk Homes. TomahawkHomes.org is where you can find out about Ryan's place. Our next home will be called Raquel's Place. And there's a story behind that. There's a story and a meaning behind everything I do.
Everything.
And
I love it.
babydollmartin.com that's the first company. That's where you can find my music and my podcasts and my lives. I'm on YouTube. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on all the things. And I do have an app. So Baby Doll Martin actually has an app for iPhone, and you can go there and you can link it to music or podcasts or lives or anything there and send messages. And Baby Dolls Boutique is babydollsboutique.com, BABYDOLZ boutique.com. So you can shop there. We have cute sweatshirts and t-shirts. I'll show you this one. I have my baby doll
Oh,
sweatshirt
that's cute.
on, and it's a hoodie, and it has my song on the back. That was
Oh.
my first song, and I cut it off so I can show my muscles.
You crazy.
So you can go there. And my last thing I'm going to say is, what is a baby doll? People kept asking me that. So we do have a t-shirt that has baby doll on the front, and it has the definition on the back. And what it says is unapologetically you. That is what a baby doll is.
That is too funny. That is amazing. That is amazing. I love it because
Thank you.
First of all, I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for your patience and your grace with this technological
Of
difficulty.
course.
I'm gonna figure it out, guys. I'm gonna figure it out. Maybe it's time to go into a studio. I don't know.
Yes.
Whatever it is, we're gonna keep bringing amazing people like Tasha to the stage and having these hard conversations. And thank you for your vulnerability, and thank you for just
Yes.
you, because this is what the show is all about. Real talk. That's what we do,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And this has been really fun, number one, and two, informative. Because that's what we want to do. We want to bring information to the audience that's going to shift their thinking, shift their consciousness,
Yes.
so that they start thinking from a new level, right?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
And here's the thing.
This was a joy and a delight. I love what you're doing. I love everything about you. I love the path we're on. I love that we have connected through the Dames of Dallas. And I told Kim,
Yeah.
I just want to be real Tasha. So
I love
I love
it.
everything you're doing. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for being amazing. All right, people, we are out of here. We're out of here. We got to go tape up videos right now. But here's what I want to say to you, which is what Tasha just said, because this is how I leave you at the end of the show. Go out there and be you. Be
Yes.
unapologetically you.
Yes.
That's the requirement. Period. End of story. Right? Just be you.
Yes.
You
You
are
can do it.
success. All right.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next week. And boy, do we have a powerhouse next week. So don't miss it. Like, subscribe, and share this channel. If you heard something on here that you think can support anybody in your life, please go ahead, like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you next week. All right. Bye.
Yes. Thank you. Bye.